Chapter 9. And in the 12th new moon, that is the new moon of Adar, on the 13th day when the sovereign's command and his decree came to be done, on the day that the enemies of the Yahudim had waited to overpower them, it turned around so that the Yahudim overpowered those who hated them. The Yahudim assembled in their cities throughout all the provinces of sovereign Ahasuerus to lay hands on those who sought their evil, and no one stood against them, because fear of them fell upon all the people. And all the officials of the provinces, and the viceroys, and the governors, and all those doing the sovereign's work helped the Yahudim, because the fear of Mordecai fell upon them. For Mordecai was great in the palace of the sovereign, and his report spread into all the provinces. For this man Mordecai became greater and greater. And the Yahudim struck all their enemies with the stroke of the sword, with killing and destruction, and did what they pleased to those who hated them. And in the citadel of Shushan, the Yahudim killed and destroyed 500 men. And in Parshandatha, and Dalphon, and Asptha, and Paratha, and Adalia, and Aridatha, and Parmashtha, and Arisai, and Aridai, and Waizatha, the 10 sons of Haman, son of Hamidatha, the enemy of the Yahudim, they killed, but they did not lay a hand on the plunder. On that day the number of those who were killed in the citadel of Shushan came before the sovereign. And the sovereign said to Sovereigness Ester, "The Yahudim have killed and destroyed 500 men in the citadel of Shushan, and the 10 sons of Haman. What have they done in the rest of the sovereign's provinces? And what is your petition? And it is given to you. And what is your further request? And it is done." And Ester said, "If it pleases the sovereign, let it be given to the Yahudim who are in Shushan to do again tomorrow, according to today's decree, and let Haman's 10 sons be hanged on the wooden structure." And the sovereign commanded this to be done. And the decree was given in Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons. And the Yahudim who were in Shushan also assembled on the 14th day of the new moon of Adar, and they killed 300 men at Shushan, but they did not lay a hand on the plunder. And the rest of the Yahudim in the sovereign's provinces assembled and stood for their lives, and to get rest from their enemies, and to kill 75,000 of their enemies. But they did not lay a hand on the plunder. That was on the 13th day of the new moon of Adar. And on the 14th they rested in it, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. But the Yahudim who were at Shushan assembled on the 13th day, as well as on the 14th day. And on the 15th they rested in it, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Therefore the Yahudim of the villages, who dwelt in the unwalled towns, were making the 14th day of the new moon of Adar a good day of gladness and feasting, and for sending portions to one another. And Mordecai wrote these matters and sent letters to all the Yahudim who were in all the provinces of sovereign Ahasuerus, both near and far, to establish among them to perform the 14th and 15th days of the new moon of Adar yearly, as the days on which the Yahudim had rest from their enemies, as the new moon which was turned from sorrow to joy for them, and from mourning to a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, of sending portions to one another and gifts to the poor. And the Yahudim undertook to do as they had begun, and as Mordecai had written to them, because Haman, son of Hamadatha, the Agite, the adversary of all the Yahudim, had plotted against the Yahudim to destroy them, and had cast pur, that is the lot, to crush them and to destroy them. But when she came before the sovereign, he commanded by letter that his evil plot, which Haman had plotted against the Yahudim, should return on his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the wooden structure. Therefore they called these days Purim, after the name Pur. Therefore, because of all the words of this letter, what they had seen concerning this matter, and what had come upon them, the Yahudim established and imposed it upon themselves, and upon their seed, and all who should join them, that without fail they should perform these 2 days every year according to their writing, and at their appointed time. And that these days should be remembered and performed throughout every generation, every clan, every province, and every city, and that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Yahudim, and that the remembrance of them should not cease from their seed. And sovereigness Esther, the daughter of Abihail, with Mordecai the Yahudi, wrote with all the authority to confirm this second letter about Purim. And Mordecai sent letters to all the Yahudim, to the 127 provinces of the reign of Ahasuerus, words of peace and truth, to establish these days of Purim at their appointed times, as Mordecai the Yahudi and sovereigness Esther had established for them, and as they had established for themselves and their seed concerning matters of their fastings and lamenting. And the decree of Esther established these matters of Purim, and it was written in the book. Chapter 10. And sovereign Ahasuerus laid compulsory labor on the land, and the islands of the sea, and all the acts of his power and his might, and the exact account of the greatness of Mordecai, with which the sovereign made him great. Are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Media and Persia? For Mordecai the Yahudi was second to sovereign Ahasuerus, and great among the Yahudim, and pleasing to his many brothers, seeking the good of his people, and speaking peace to all his seed. The book of Ezra. Chapter 1. And in the first year of Koresh, sovereign of Persia, that the word of Yahuwah by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished, Yahuwah stirred up the spirit of Koresh, sovereign of Persia, to proclaim throughout all his reign, and also in writing, saying, Thus said Koresh, sovereign of Persia, Yahuwah Elohim of the heavens has given me all the reins of the earth, and he has commanded me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Yehudah. Who is among you of all his people? His Elohim be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Yehudah, and build the house of Yahuwah Elohim of Israel. He is Elohim, which is in Jerusalem. And whoever is left from all the places where he sojourns, let the men of his place help him with silver and gold, with goods and livestock, besides the voluntary offering for the house of Elohim, which is in Jerusalem. And the heads of the fathers' houses of Yehudah and Benjamin, and the priests, and the Levites, with all those whose spirits Elohim had stirred, rose up to go up and build the house of Yahuwah, which is in Jerusalem. And all those around about them strengthened their hands with objects of silver and gold, with goods and livestock, and with valuables, besides all that was voluntarily offered. And sovereign Koresh brought out the utensils of the house of Yahuwah, which Nebuchadnezzar had taken from Jerusalem, and put in the house of his mighty ones. And Koresh, sovereign of Persia, brought them out by the hand of Mithredath, the treasurer, and counted them out to Sheshbazzar, the leader of Yehudah. And this was their number, 30 gold dishes, 1,000 silver dishes, 29 knives, 30 gold basins. Next, 410 silver basins, 1,000 other utensils. All the utensils of gold and silver were 5,400. Sheshbazzar took all of them with the exiles who were brought from Babel to Jerusalem. Chapter 2. And these are the sons of the province who came back from the captivity of the exiles, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the sovereign of Babel, had exiled to Babel, and who returned to Jerusalem and Yehudah, each to his own city, who came with Zerubbabel, Yeshua, Nehemiah, Sariah, Reliah, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mispar, Bigwai, Rehum, Baanah, the number of the men of the people of Israel. Sons of Porash, 2,172. Sons of Shephatiah, 372. Sons of Erach, 775. Sons of Pahath Moab, of the sons of Yeshua and Joab, 12,812. Sons of Elam, 1,254. Sons of Zatu, 945. Sons of Zakai, 760. Sons of Bani, 642. Sons of Babai, 623. Sons of Azgad, 1,222. Sons of Adonikam, 666. Sons of Bigwai, 2,056. Sons of Adin, 454. Sons of Atir of Hezekiah, 98. Sons of Betsai, 323. Sons of Yorah, 112. Sons of Hashum, 223. Sons of Gibbar, 95. Sons of Bethlehem, 123. Men of Netophah, 56. Men of Anathoth, 128. Sons of Azamoth, 42. Sons of Kiriath Arim, Kephirah, and Beeroth, 743. Sons of Ramah and Geba, 621. Men of Michmas, 122. Men of Bethel and Ai, 223. Sons of Nebo, 52. Sons of Magbish, 156. Sons of the other Elam, 1,254. Sons of Harim, 320. Sons of Lod, Hadid, and Ono, 725. Sons of Jericho, 345. Sons of Sinah, 3,630. The priests, sons of Yediah, of the house of Yeshua, 973. Sons of Immer, 1,052. Sons of Pashur, 1,247. Sons of Harim, 1,017. The Levites, sons of Yeshua, and Kadmiel of the sons of Hadawiah, 74. The singers, sons of Asaph, 128. Sons of the gatekeepers, sons of Shallum, sons of Atir, sons of Talmon, son of Akub, sons of Hatita, sons of Shobai, 139 in all. The Nethinim, sons of Tishha, sons of Hashupha, sons of Tabaoth, sons of Kiros, sons of Siha, sons of Padon, sons of Lebana, sons of Hakobach, sons of Hakub, sons of Hagab, sons of Shamlai, sons of Hanan, sons of Gedel, sons of Gahar, sons of Reiah, sons of Retzin, sons of Nekoda, sons of Gazam, sons of Uzzah, sons of Paseach, sons of Besai, sons of Asna, sons of Meunim, sons of Nephusam, sons of Bakbuk, sons of Hakupah, sons of Hachur, sons of Batsluth, sons of Machida, sons of Harsha, sons of Barkos, sons of Sisera, sons of Timach, sons of Netzayach, sons of Chataya, sons of Shelomah's servants, sons of Sotai, sons of Sophereth, sons of Peruda, sons of Ya'ala, sons of Darkon, sons of Gedel, sons of Shephatiah, sons of Chatael, sons of Pokereth, of Zebaim, sons of Amni. All the Nethinim and the children of Shelomah's servants were 392. And these were those who came up from Tel Mehlach, Tel Harsha, Kerub, Adan, Immer. But they were unable to show their father's house and their seed, whether they were of Yisrael. Sons of Deliah, sons of Tobiah, sons of Nekoda, 652. And of the sons of the priests, sons of Chabiah, sons of Kots, sons of Barzillai, who took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai the Gileadite, and was called by their name. These sought their register among those who were counted by genealogy, but they were not found, so they were barred from the priesthood as defiled. And the governor said to them that they should not eat of the most set-apart gifts until there stood up a priest with the Urim and Tumim. The entire assembly was 42,360. Besides their male and female servants, these were 7,337. They also had 200 men and women singers. Their horses were 736, their mules 245, their camels 435, donkeys 6,720, and some of the heads of the fathers' houses when they came to the house of Yahuwah, which is in Jerusalem, offered voluntarily for the house of Elohim to establish it in its place. They gave according to their ability to the treasury for the work 61,000 gold derricks and 5,000 minas of silver and 100 priestly garments. And the priests and the Levites and some of the people and the singers and the gatekeepers and the Nethanim dwelt in their cities, and all the Israel in their cities. Chapter 3. Now when the 7th new moon came, and the children of Israel were in the cities, the people gathered as one man to Jerusalem. And Yeshua, son of Yotzadak, and his brothers the priests, and Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and his brothers arose and built the slaughter place of the Elohim of Israel, to offer ascending offerings on it, as it is written in the Torah of Moshe, the man of Elohim. So they set the slaughter place on its stands, being afraid of the people of the lands, and they offered ascending offerings on it to Yahuwah, both the morning and evening ascending offerings. And they performed the festival of Sukkot, as it is written, and the daily ascending offerings by number according to the right ruling for each day. And afterward, the continual ascending offering, and those for new moons and for all the appointed times of Yahuwah that were set apart. Also for everyone who volunteered a voluntary offering to Yahuwah. From the first day of the 7th new moon, they began to offer ascending offerings to Yahuwah. But the foundation of the Hakal of Yahuwah had not been laid. And they gave silver to the stonemasons and the carpenters, and food and drink and oil to the people of Zidon and Zor, to bring cedar logs from Lebanon to the sea at Yaffo, according to the permission which they had from Koresh, sovereign of Persia. And in the 2nd new moon of the 2nd year of their coming to the house of Elohim, to Jerusalem, Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and Yeshua, son of Yotzadak, and the rest of their brothers, the priests and the Levites, and all those who had come out of the captivity to Jerusalem began. And they appointed the Levites from 20 years old and above to oversee the work of the house of Yahuwah. And Yeshua stood up, his sons and his brothers, Kadmiel, with his sons, the sons of Yehuda, together, to oversee those working on the house of Elohim, the sons of Henadad, with their sons, and their brothers the Levites. And when the builders laid the foundation of the Hakal of Yahuwah, they appointed the priests in their robes with trumpets, and the Levites, the sons of Asaph, with cymbals to praise Yahuwah, after the order of David, sovereign of Israel. And they responded by praising and giving thanks to Yahuwah, for he is good, for his loving commitment towards Israel is forever. And all the people shouted with a great shout when they praised Yahuwah, because the foundation of the house of Yahuwah was laid. And many of the priests and the Levites and the heads of the fathers' houses, the old men who had seen the first house, wept with a loud voice when the foundation of this house was laid before their eyes, and many shouted aloud for joy. And the people could not distinguish the noise of the shout of joy from the noise of the weeping of the people. For the people shouted with a loud shout, and the sound was heard far away. Chapter 4. And when the adversaries of Yehuda and Benjamin heard that the sons of the exile were building the Hakal of Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, they came to Zerubbabel and the heads of the fathers' houses and said to them, "Let us build with you, for we seek your Elohim as you do, and we have slaughtered to him since the days of Esarhaddon, sovereign of Asher, who brought us here." But Zerubbabel and Yeshua and the rest of the heads of the fathers' houses of Israel said to them, "It is not for you and for us to build a house for our Elohim, but we alone build to Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, as sovereign Koresh, the sovereign of Persia, has commanded us." And it came to be that the people of the land were weakening the hands of the people of Yehuda and troubling them in their building, and hiring counselors against them to thwart their plans all the days of Koresh, sovereign of Persia, even until the reign of Darius, sovereign of Persia. And in the reign of Ahasuerus, in the beginning of his reign, they wrote an accusation against the inhabitants of Yehuda and Jerusalem. And in the days of Artashasta, Bishlam, Mithredath, Tabael, and the rest of their companions wrote to Artashasta, sovereign of Persia, and the letter was written in Aramaic and translated from Aramaic. Rehunam, the governor, and Shimshai, the scribe, wrote a letter against Jerusalem to sovereign Artashasta, thus: Rehub, the governor, and Shimshai, the scribe, and the rest of the companions, the judges, and the emissaries of the councils, the officials, the people of Erech, and of Babel, and of Shushan, the Dewachites, the Elamites, and the rest of the nations whom the great and noble Osnappar took in exile, and settled in the cities of Shamaron, and the rest beyond the river. And now, this is a copy of the letter that they sent to him, to sovereign Artashasta, from your servants, the men beyond the river. And now let it be known to the sovereign that the Yahudim who came up from you have come to us at Jerusalem, and are building the rebellious and evil city, and are completing its walls and repairing the foundations. Now let it now be known to the sovereign that if this city is built and the walls completed, they are not going to pay tax, excise, or toll, and cause the revenue of the sovereign to suffer loss. Now, because we have eaten salt from the palace, it was not fitting for us to see the sovereign's shame. Therefore, we have sent and informed the sovereign, so that search be made in the book of the records of your fathers, and you find in the book of the records and know that this city is a rebellious city, and causing loss to sovereigns in provinces, and revolt was stirred up in it since days of old, for which cause this city was destroyed. We inform the sovereign that if this city is rebuilt and its walls are completed, that you have no portion beyond the river. The sovereign sent a message to Rehunam, the governor, and Shimshai the scribe, to the rest of their companions who dwell in Shamaron and the rest beyond the river. Peace. And now, the letters you sent to us have been plainly read before me, and I made the decree, and a search has been made, and it was found that this city in days of old has lifted up itself against sovereigns, and that rebellion and revolt has been made in it, and mighty sovereigns have been over Jerusalem, who have ruled over all beyond the river, and tax and excise and toll were paid to them. Now make a decree to make these men cease, and that this city be built not until the command is given by me. And beware of negligence to do this. Why should damage increase to the hurt of the sovereigns? Now when the copy of the letter of sovereign Artashasta was read before Rehunam and Shimshai the scribe and their companions, they went up in a hurry to Jerusalem against the Yahudim, and made them cease by might and power. Then the work of the house of Elah, which is at Jerusalem, ceased, and it ceased until the 2nd year of the reign of Darius, sovereign of Persia. Chapter 5. Then the prophets Haggai the prophet and Zechariah, son of Iddo, prophesied to the Yahudim who were in Yehuda and Jerusalem in the name of the Allah of Israel upon them. Then Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and Yeshua, son of Yotzadak, rose up and began to build the house of Elah, which is in Jerusalem. And the prophets of Elah were with them, helping them. At that time, Tatanai, the governor beyond the river, and Shethar-bozenai, and their companions came to them and said this to them: Who has made you a decree to build this house and to complete this wall? Then we told them what the names were of the men who were building this building. And the eye of their Elah was upon the elders of Yahudim, so that they could not make them cease until the matter went to Darius. And then they sent back a letter concerning this. This is the copy of the letter that Tatanai, governor beyond the river, had sent. And Shethar-bozenai and his companions, the officials beyond the river, to Darius the sovereign. They sent a letter to him, and this was written in it: To Darius the sovereign, all peace. Let it be known to the sovereign that we went into the province of Yehuda, to the house of the great Elah, which is being built with heavy stones, and timber is being laid in the walls. And this work goes on speedily and is blessed in their hands. Then we asked those elders, saying this to them: Who made you a decree to build this house and to complete these walls? And we also asked them their names, in order to inform you, so we could write the names of the men at their head. And this is the answer they gave us, saying, We are the servants of the Elah of heaven and earth, and we are rebuilding the house that was built many years ago, which a great sovereign of Israel built and completed. But because our fathers provoked the Elah of heaven, he gave them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, the Kasdai, who destroyed this house and exiled the people to Babel. But in the first year of Koresh, sovereign of Babel, Koresh the sovereign made a decree to build this house of Elah, and also the gold and silver utensils of the house of Elah, which Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the Hekal that was in Jerusalem, and brought to the Hekal of Babel. Those sovereign Koresh took from the Hekal of Babel, and they were given to one named Sheshbazzar, whom he had made governor, and said to him, Take these utensils, go deposit them in the Hekal in Jerusalem, and let the house of Elah be built on its place. Then the same Sheshbazzar came, laid the foundation of the house of Elah, which is in Jerusalem, and since that time, even until now, it has been in building, and it is now completed. And now, if it seems good to the sovereign, let a search be made in the sovereign's treasure house, which is there in Babel, whether it is so that a decree was made by sovereign Koresh to build this house of Elah at Jerusalem, and let the sovereign send us his decision concerning this. Chapter 6. Then Darius the sovereign made a decree, and a search was made in the house of the books, wherein also the treasures of Babel were kept. And Ahamitha, in the palace which is in the province of Media, a scroll was found, and this was written in it. In the first year of sovereign Koresh made a decree concerning the house of Elah at Jerusalem. Let the house be built in the place where they brought offerings, and its foundation strongly laid, its height 60 cubits, its width 60 cubits, 3 rows of heavy stones and 1 row of new timber. Let the expenses be paid from the sovereign's house, and let the gold and silver utensils of the house of Elah, which Nebuchadnezzar took from the Hekal which is in Jerusalem, and brought to Babel, be returned, and go to the Hekal which is in Jerusalem, to its place, and deposit them in the house of Elah. Now Tattenai, governor beyond the river, and Shethar-bozenai, and your companions, the officials beyond the river, stay away from there. Leave the work of this house of Elah alone. Let the governor of the Yahudim and the elders of Yahudim build this house of Elah on its place. And I make a decree as to what you should do for the elders of these Yahudim, for the building of this house of Elah. Let the exact expense be paid to these men from the sovereign's resources, out of the taxes beyond the river, so that they are not stopped. And whatever they need, both young bulls and rams, and lambs for the ascending offerings of the Elah of heaven, wheat, salt, wine, and oil, according to the request of the priests who are in Jerusalem, let it be given them day by day without fail, so that they bring pleasing offerings to the Elah of heaven, and pray for the life of the sovereign and his sons. And I make a decree that whoever changes this word, let a timber be pulled from his house, and let him be impaled and hanged on it, and let his house be made a dunghill because of this. And Elah, who has caused his name to dwell there, does overthrow any sovereign or people who put their hand to change, to destroy this house of Elah, which is in Jerusalem. I, Darius, make the decree, let it be done promptly. Then Tattenai, governor beyond the river, Shethar-bozenai, and their companions promptly did according to what Darius the sovereign had sent. And the elders of the Yahudim were building, and they were blessed through the prophesying of Haggai the prophet and Zechariah son of Iddo, and they built and finished it according to the decree of Elah of Israel, and according to the decree of Koresh, and Darius, and Artashashad, sovereign of Persia. And this house was completed on the 3rd day of the month of Adar, which was in the 6th year of the reign of sovereign Darius. Then the children of Israel, the priests and the Levites, and the rest of the sons of the exile, did the dedication of this house of Elah with joy, and offered at the dedication of this house of Elah 100 bulls, 200 rams, 400 lambs, and as a sin offering for all Yisrael, 12 male goats, according to the number of the tribes of Yisrael. And they appointed the priests to their divisions, and the Levites to their divisions, over the service of Elah in Jerusalem, as it is written in the book of Moshe. And the sons of the exile performed the Pesach on the 14th day of the first new moon. For the priests and the Levites had cleansed themselves. All of them were clean. And they slew the Pesach for all the sons of the exile, and for their brothers the priests, and for themselves. And the children of Israel who had returned from the exile ate together with all who had separated themselves from the uncleanness of the nations of the land in order to seek Yahuwah Elohim of Israel. And they performed the festival of Matzot 7 days with joy, for Yahuwah caused them to rejoice, and turned the heart of the sovereign of Asher toward them, to strengthen their hands in their work of the house of Elohim, the Elohim of Israel. Chapter 7. And after these events in the reign of Artashatta, sovereign of Persia, Ezra, son of Sariah, son of Azariah, son of Hilkiah, son of Shallum, son of Zadok, son of Ahitub, son of Amariah, son of Azariah, son of Mirioth, son of Zerechiah, son of Uzi, son of Buki, son of Abushai, son of Phaneach, son of Eleazar, son of Aharon, the chief priest. This Ezra came up from Babel, and he was a scribe, skilled in the Torah of Moshe, which Yahuwah Elohim of Israel had given. And the sovereign gave him all he asked, according to the hand of Yahuwah his Elohim upon him. And some of the children of Israel, and the priests, and the Levites, and the singers, and the gatekeepers, and the Nethinim, came up to Jerusalem in the 7th year of sovereign Artashatta. And he came to Jerusalem in the 5th new moon, which was in the 7th year of the sovereign. For on the 1st day of the 1st new moon he began to go up from Babel, and on the 1st day of the 5th new moon he came to Jerusalem, according to the good hand of his Elohim upon him. For Ezra had prepared his heart to seek the Torah of Yahuwah, and to do it, and to teach laws and right rulings in Israel. And this is the copy of the letter that sovereign Artashatta gave Ezra the priest, the scribe, a scribe in the words of the commands of Yahuwah, and of his laws to Yisrael. Artashatta, sovereign of sovereigns, to Ezra the priest, a perfect scribe of the law of Elah of heaven, and now I make a decree that all those of the people of Israel, and the priests, and Levites in my reign who volunteer to go up to Jerusalem go with you, since you are being sent by the sovereign and his 7 counselors to inquire about Yehudah and Jerusalem, with regard to the law of your Elah which is in your hand, and to bring the silver and gold which the sovereign and his counselors have voluntarily given to the Elah of Yisrael, whose dwelling is in Jerusalem, and all the silver and gold that you find in all the province of Babel, along with the gift of the people and the priests, voluntarily given for the house of their Elah in Jerusalem. Therefore, with this silver, promptly buy bulls, rams, lambs with their grain offerings and their drink offerings, and offer them on the slaughter place of the house of your Elah in Jerusalem. And whatever seems good to you and your brothers to do with the rest of the silver and the gold, do to it according to the desire of your Elah. And the utensils that are given to you for the service of the house of Elah, put back before the Elah of Jerusalem. And the rest of the needs for the house of your Elah, which falls to you to give from the sovereign's treasure house. And I, Artashatta, sovereign, do make a decree to all the treasurers who are beyond the river, that whatever Ezra the priest, the scribe of the law of the Elah of heaven, does ask of you, let it be done promptly, up to 100 talents of silver, and up to 100 cores of wheat, and up to 100 baths of wine, and up to 100 baths of oil, and salt without reckoning. Whatever is commanded by the Elah of heaven, let it be diligently done for the house of the Elah of heaven. For why should there be wrath against the reign of the sovereign and his sons? We further inform you that there is no authority to impose tax, excise, or toll on any of the priests and Levites, singers, gatekeepers, Nethinim, and servants of this house of Elah. And you, Ezra, according to the wisdom of your Elah that is in your hand, appoint magistrates and judges to judge all the people who are beyond the river, all such as know the laws of your Elah, and teach those who do not know them. And whoever does not do the law of your Elah and the law of the sovereign, let judgment be promptly executed on him, whether it be death or banishment, or confiscation of goods or imprisonment. Blessed be Yahuwah Elohim of our fathers, who has put this in the sovereign's heart, to embellish the house of Yahuwah which is in Jerusalem, and has exalted loving commitment to me before the sovereign and his counselors, and before all the sovereign's mighty princes. So I was strengthened as the hand of Yahuwah my Elohim was upon me, and I gathered heads from Yisrael to go up with me. Chapter 8. These are the heads of their fathers' houses, and this is the genealogy of those who went up with me from Babel in the reign of sovereign Artashatzah. Of the sons of Phinehas, Gershom. Of the sons of Ithamar, Daniel. Of the sons of David, Hatzush. Of the sons of Shechaniah, of the sons of Porash, Zechariah, and registered with him were 150 males. Of the sons of Pahath Moab, Eliehoenai, son of Zerachiah, and with him 200 males. Of the sons of Shechaniah, the son Yahaziel, and with him 300 males. And of the sons of Adin, Ebed, son of Jonathan, and with him 50 males. And of the sons of Elam, Yeshaiah, son of Athaliah, and with him 70 males. And of the sons of Shephatiah, Zebadiah, son of Michael, and with him 80 males. Of the sons of Joab, Obadiah, son of Jehiel, and with him 218 males. And of the sons of Shelomith, the son of Josiphiah, and with him 160 males. And of the sons of Babai, Zechariah, son of Babai, and with him 28 males. And of the sons of Asgod, Yochanan, son of Hakatan, and with him 110 males. And of the last sons of Adonikam, whose names are these, Ephelet, Yael, and Shemaiah, and with them 60 males. And of the sons of Bigwai, Uthai, and Zabud, and with them 70 males. And I assembled them at the river that flows to Ahiah, and we camped there 3 days. And I looked among the people and the priests, and did not find any of the sons of Levi there. Then I sent Eleazar for Ariel, for Shemaiah, and for Elnathan, and for Yarib, and for Elnathan, and for Nathan, and for Zechariah, and for Meshulam, leaders, also for Yoyarib, and Elnathan, men of understanding. And I gave them a command for Edo, the chief man at the place Casphiah, and put in their mouth words to speak to Edo and his brothers, the Nethanim, at the place Casphiah, to bring us servants for the house of our Elohim. Then, by the good hand of our Elohim upon us, they brought us a man of understanding of the sons of Mahali, son of Levi, son of Yisrael, and Sherebiah, with his sons and brothers 18, and Hashabiah, and with him Yeshaiah, of the sons of Merari, his brothers and their sons 20. And of the Nethanim, whom David and their leaders had appointed for the service of the Levites, 220 Nethanim, all of them designated by name. I then proclaimed a fast there at the river Ahawah, to humble ourselves before our Elohim, to seek from him the right way for us, and our little ones, and all our possessions. For I was ashamed to ask of the sovereign a group of soldiers and horsemen to help us against the enemy on the way, because we had spoken to the sovereign, saying, The hand of our Elohim is upon all those for good who seek him, but his power and his wrath are against all those who forsake him. So we fasted and prayed to our Elohim for this, and he answered our prayer. And I separated 12 of the leaders of the priests, Sherebiah, Hashabiah, and 10 of their brothers with them, and weighed out to them the silver and the gold, and the utensils, the contribution for the house of our Elohim, which the sovereign and his counselors, and his heads, and all Yisrael who were there, had presented. Thus I weighed into their hand 650 talents of silver, and silver objects of 100 talents, and 100 talents of gold, and 20 gold basins of 1,000 derricks, and 2 utensils of fine polished bronze, precious as gold. And I said to them, You are set apart to Yahuwah, and the objects are set apart, and the silver and the gold are a voluntary offering to Yahuwah Elohim of your fathers. Watch and guard them until you weigh them before the leaders of the priests and the Levites and the heads of the fathers' houses of Israel in Jerusalem, in the rooms of the house of Yahuwah. So the priests and the Levites took the weight of the silver and the gold and the utensils to bring them to Jerusalem, to the house of our Elohim. Then we set out from the Ahawah River on the 12th of the first new moon to go to Jerusalem. And the hand of our Elohim was upon us, and he delivered us from the hand of the enemy and from ambush along the way. And when we came to Jerusalem, we dwelt there 3 days. And on the 4th day the silver and the gold and the utensils were weighed in the house of our Elohim by the hand of Meremoth, son of Uriah the priest, and with him was Eleazar, son of Phinehas, and with him were the Levites, Jozabad, son of Yeshua, and Noadiah, son of Benui, with the number and weight of all, and all the weight was written down at that time. The sons of the exile, who had come from the captivity, brought ascending offerings to Elohim of Yisrael, 12 bulls for all Yisrael, 96 rams, 77 lambs, and 12 male goats as a sin offering, all as an ascending offering to Yahuwah. And they gave the sovereign's orders to the sovereigns, viceroys, and the governors beyond the river. And they lifted up the people and the house of Elohim. Chapter 9. And when these matters had been done, the leaders came to me, saying,
The people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the peoples of the lands as to their abominations, those of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, and the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Mitzrites, and the Amorites. For they have taken some of their daughters as wives for themselves and their sons, so that the set-apart seed is intermingled with the peoples of the lands. And the hand of the leaders and rulers has been foremost in this trespass.
And when I heard this word, I tore my garment and my robe, and plucked out some of the hair of my head and beard, and sat down astonished. Then all those who trembled at the words of the Elohim of Israel gathered to me, because of the trespass of the exiles. And I sat astonished until the evening offering. And at the evening offering I rose from my affliction. And having torn my garment and my robe, I fell on my knees and spread out my hands to Yahuwah my Elohim, and said, O my Elohim, I am too ashamed and wounded to lift up my face to you, my Elohim, for our crookednesses have risen higher than our heads, and our guilt has grown up to the heavens. Since the days of our fathers to this day, we have been very guilty. And for our crookednesses, we, our sovereigns, and our priests have been given into the hand of the sovereigns of the lands, to the sword, to captivity, and to plunder, and to shame of faces, as it is this day. But now, for a short while, favor has been shown from Yahuwah our Elohim, to leave us a remnant to escape, and to give us a peg in his set-apart place, that our Elohim might enlighten our eyes and give us a little reviving in our bondage. For we were slaves, but in our bondage our Elohim did not forsake us, and extend loving commitment to us in the presence of the sovereigns of Persia, to revive us, to raise up the house of our Elohim, to restore its ruins, and to give us a wall in Yehuda and Jerusalem. And now, O our Elohim, what do we say after this? For we have forsaken your commands, which you have commanded by your servants the prophets, saying, The land which you are going in to possess is a land unclean, through the uncleanness of the peoples of the lands, by their abominations, with which they have filled it, from one end to another by their uncleanness. And now do not give your daughters as wives for their sons, nor take their daughters to your sons, and do not seek their peace or wealth ever, and shall eat the good of the land, and leave it as an inheritance to your children forever. And after all that has come upon us, for our evil deeds and for our great guilt, Since you, our Elohim, have held back the rod upon our crookednesses and have given us such deliverance as this, should we turn back to break your commands and join in marriage with the peoples of these abominations? Would you not be enraged with us until you had consumed us, so that there would be no remnant or survivor? O Yahweh, Elohim of Yisrael, you are righteous, for we are left as a remnant, as it is this day. See, we are before you in our guilt, for there is no one to stand before you concerning this. Chapter 10. And while Ezra was praying, and while he was confessing, weeping and bowing down before the house of Elohim, a very large assembly, men and women and children gathered unto him from Yisrael, for the people wept very bitterly. And Shechaniah, son of Yehiel, one of the sons of Olam, spoke up and said to Ezra,
We have trespassed against our Elohim, and have taken foreign women from the peoples of the land, and now there is expectancy in Yisrael concerning this. Now, then let us make a covenant with our Elohim to put away all these wives and those who have been born to them, according to the counsel of Yahuwah, and of those who tremble at the command of our Elohim, and let it be done according to the Torah. Arise, for the matter is upon you, but we are with you. Be strong and act.
And Ezra rose, and made the leaders of the priests, the Levites, and all Yisrael to swear to do according to this word. And they swore. Then Ezra rose up from before the house of Elohim, and went into the room of Yochanan, son of Elishib. And he went there. He ate no bread and drank no water, for he mourned because of the trespass of the exiles. And they passed a call throughout Yehudah and Jerusalem to the sons of the exiles to gather at Jerusalem, and that whoever would not come within 3 days, according to the counsel of the leaders and elders, all his goods would be put under a ban, and himself separated from the assembly of the exiles. Then all the men of Yehudah and Benjamin gathered at Jerusalem within 3 days. It was the 9th new moon, on the 20th of the new moon. And all the people sat in the open space of the house of Elohim, trembling because of the matter and because of showers of rain. And Ezra the priest stood up and said to them, You have trespassed and have taken foreign women, adding to the guilt of Yisrael. And now make confession to Yahuwah Elohim of your fathers, and do his desire, and separate yourselves from the peoples of the land and from the foreign women. And all the assembly answered and said with a loud voice, Right! It is upon us to do according to your word. But the people are many, and it is the season of showers of rain, and we are not able to stand outside, and the work not of 1 or 2 days, for we have greatly transgressed in this matter. Please, let the leaders of all the assembly stand, and let all those in our cities who have taken foreign women come at appointed times, together with the elders and judges of their cities, until the burning wrath of our Elohim is turned away from us in this matter. Only Jonathan, son of Asahel, and Yahaziah, son of Tikwa, opposed this, and Meshullam and Shabbathai the Levite gave them support. Then the sons of the exile did so, and Ezra the priest, with certain heads of the fathers' houses, were separated by the fathers' houses, each of them by name. And they sat down on the first day of the 10th new moon to examine the matter. And they finished with all the men who had taken foreign women by the first day of the first new moon. And among the sons of the priests who had taken foreign women were found of the sons of Yeshua, son of Yotzadak, and his brothers, Maaseiah, and Eleazar, and Yarib, and Gedaliah. And they gave their hand in pledge to put away their wives. And being guilty, they presented a ram of the flock for their guilt. And the sons of Immer, Hanani, and Zebediah, and of the sons of Harim, Maaseiah, and Eliah, and Shemaiah, and Yehiel, and Uzziah, and of the sons of Pashur, Elioenai, Maaseiah, Yishmael, Nathaniel, Jozabad, and Elasa, and of the Levites, Jozabad, Shimei, Kiliah, he is Kelita, Pethaliah, Yehuda, and Eleazar. And of the singers, Elashib. And of the gatekeepers, Shallum, and Telem, and Uri. And of Yisrael, of the sons of Parosh, Ramiah, and Yiziah, and Malchiah, and Miamin, and Eleazar, and Malchiah, and Benaiah. And of the sons of Elam, Mattaniah, Zechariah, and Yechiel, and Abdi, and Yeremoth, and Eliah. And of the sons of Zatul, Elioenai, Elashib, Mattaniah, and Yeremoth, and Zabad, and Azizah. And of the sons of Bebai, Yochanan, Hananiah, Zabai, and Athalai. And of the sons of Bani, Meshulam, Maluk, and Adiah, Yashub, and Sheal, Ramoth. And of the sons of Pachath Moab, Adnah, and Kalal, Benaiah, Messiah, Mattaniah, Betzalel, and Benoi, and Manasseh. And of the sons of Harim, Eleazar, Yishiah, Malchiah, Shemaiah, Shimon, Benjamin, Maluk, and Shemariah. Of the sons of Hashum, Mattenai, Matata, Zabad, Ephelet, Yermai, Manasseh, and Shimei. Of the sons of Bani, Madai, Amram, and Uel, Benaiah, Bedadiah, Keluhu, Wanya, Meremoth, Elashib, Mattaniah, Mattenai, and Yaasu, and Bani, and Benui, Shimei, and Shelmiah, and Nathan, and Adiah, Maknandabai, Shashai, Sherarai, Azarel, and Shelmiahu, Shemariah, Shallum, Amariah, and Yosef. Of the sons of Nebo, Yeiel, Mattathiah, Zabad, Zabina, Yadu, and Yoel, Benaiah. All these had taken foreign women, and some of them had women who had borne children. The Book of Nehemiah, Nehemiah, Chapter 1. The words of Nehemiah, son of Hachaliah. And it came to be in the new moon of Kislev, in the 20th year, as I was in the citadel of Shushan, that Hanani, one of my brothers, came with men from Yehuda, and I asked them concerning the Yahudim who had escaped, who had survived the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. And they said to me, The remnant who are left of the captivity in the province are there in great evil and reproach, and the wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates are burned with fire. And it came to be when I heard these words that I sat down and wept, and mourned for many days. And I was fasting and praying before the Elohim of the heavens. And I said, I pray, Yahuwah Elohim of the heavens, O great and awesome El, guarding the covenant and loving commitment with those who love you, and with those guarding your commands. Please let your ear be attentive and your eyes open to hear the prayer of your servant, which I am praying before you now, day and night, for the children of Israel, your servants, and confess the sins of the children of Israel, which we have sinned against you. Both my father's house and I have sinned. We have acted very corruptly against you, and have not guarded the commands, nor the laws, nor the right rulings which you commanded your servant Moshe. Please, remember the word that you commanded your servant Moshe, saying, If you trespass, I shall scatter you among the peoples. But if you shall turn back to me and guard my commands and do them, though you are cast out to the end of the heavens, I shall gather them from there, and bring them to the place which I have chosen to make my name dwell there. And they are your servants and your people, whom you have ransomed by your great power and by your strong hand. O Yahuwah, I pray, please let your ear be attentive to the prayer of your servant, and to the prayer of your servants who delight to fear your name. And let your servant prosper this day, I pray, and grant him compassion in the presence of this man. For I was cupbearer to the sovereign. Chapter 2. And it came to be in the new moon of Nisan, in the 20th year of Artashashad the sovereign, when wine was before him, that I took the wine and gave it to the sovereign. And I had never been sad in his presence. And the sovereign said to me, Why is your face sad, since you are not sick? This is none else but sorrow of heart. Then I was very much afraid, and said to the sovereign, Let the sovereign live forever. Why should my face not be sad when the city, the place of my father's burial sites, lie waste, and its gates are burned with fire? And the sovereign said to me, What are you asking for? Then I prayed to the Elohim of the heavens, and said to the sovereign, If it seems good to the sovereign, and if your servant is pleasing before you, I ask that you send me to Yehuda, to the city of my father's burial site, so that I build it. And the sovereign, with the sovereigness sitting beside him, said to me, How long would your journey take, and when do you return? So it seemed good before the sovereign to send me, and I set him a time. And I said to the sovereign, If it seems good to the sovereign, let letters be given to me for the governors beyond the river, that they should let me pass through till I come to Yehuda, and a letter to Asaph, the keeper of the sovereign's forest, that he should give me timber to make beams for the house of the gates of the palace that belongs to the house, and for the city wall, and for the house I would enter. And the sovereign gave them to me according to the good hand of my Elohim upon me. Then I came to the governors beyond the river, and gave to them the letters of the sovereign. Now the sovereign had sent commanders of the army and horsemen with me, and Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the Ammonite official heard of it, and to them it was evil, a great evil, that a man had come to seek good for the children of Israel. Then I came to Jerusalem and was there 3 days, and I rose up in the night, I and a few men with me, but informed no one what my Elohim had put in my heart to do at Jerusalem. Nor was there any beast with me, except the beast on which I rode. And I went out by night through the valley gate to the jackal's fountain and the dung gate, and examined the walls of Jerusalem which were broken down, and its gates which were burned with fire. And I went to the fountain gate and to the sovereign's pool, but there was no room for the beast that was under me to pass. And I went up in the night by the wadi, and examined the wall, and turned back, and entered by the valley gate, and returned. And the deputy rulers did not know where I had gone, nor what I had done. Nor had I yet informed the Yahudim, or the priests, or the nobles, or the deputy rulers, or others who did the work. Then I said to them, You see the evil which we are in, how Jerusalem lies waste, and its gates are burned with fire. Come, and let us build the wall of Jerusalem, and let us no longer be a reproach. And I informed them of the hand of my Elohim, which had been good upon me, and also of the sovereign's words he had spoken to me. And they said, Let us rise up, and we shall build. So they made their hands strong for good. But when Sanballat the Horonite heard, and Tobiah the servant, the Ammonite, and Geshem the Arab, they mocked us and despised us, and said, What is this you are doing? Are you rebelling against the sovereign? And I answered them and said to them, The Elohim of the heavens, he shall bless us, and let us, his servants, rise and build. But you have no portion or right or remembrance in Jerusalem. Chapter 3. And Elishib, the high priest, rose up with his brothers, the priests, and built the sheep gate. They set it apart and set up its doors, even as far as the tower of Hamiah. They set it apart as far as the tower of Hananiel. And at his hand the men of Jericho built, and at his hand Zakur, son of Imri, built. And the sons of Hasenah built the fish gate, who laid its beams and set up its doors, its bolts and bars. And at their hand Meremoth, son of Uriah, son of Kots, strengthened. And at their hand, Meshullam, son of Berechiah, son of Mashiach-zabel, strengthened. And at their hand, Zadok, son of Bana, strengthened. And at their hand, the Tekoites strengthened. But their nobles did not put their shoulders to the work of their master. And Jehoiada, son of Paseach, and Meshullam, son of Besodiah, strengthened the old gate. They laid its beams and set up its doors and its bolts and its bars. And at their hand, Meltiah, the Gibeonite, and Yodan, the Maronothite, the men of Gibeon and Mitzpah, strengthened the official seat of the governor beyond the river. At his hand, Uzziel, son of Harehiah, one of the goldsmiths, strengthened. And at his hand, Hananiah, one of the perfumers, strengthened. And they restored Jerusalem as far as the broad wall. And at their hand, Rephaiah, son of Hur, ruler of the half the district of Jerusalem, strengthened. And at their hand, Yediah, son of Harmaph, strengthened, even opposite his house. And at his hand, Chattush, son of Hashbaniah, strengthened. Malachiah, son of Harim, and Chashub, son of Pahath Moab, strengthened another section, and the tower of the ovens. And at his hand Shallum, son of Halochesh, ruler of half the district of Jerusalem, strengthened, he and his daughters. Hanum and the people of Zanoah strengthened the valley gate. They built it, and set up its doors, its bolts, and bars, and 1,000 cubits of the wall as far as the dung gate. And the dung gate was strengthened by Malchiah, son of Rechab, ruler of the district of Beth Hakorem. He built it and set up its doors, its bolts and bars. And the fountain gate was strengthened by Shulun, son of Kol Jose, ruler of the district of Mitzpah. He built it and covered it and set up its doors, its bolts and bars. Also the wall of the pool of Shelach, by the sovereign's garden, as far as the stairs going down from the city of David. After him, Nehemiah, son of Azbuk, ruler of the half the district of Beth Zur, strengthened as far as opposite the burial sites of David, and to the man-made pool, and as far as the house of the mighty men. After him the Levites, Rehum, son of Bani, strengthened, at his hand strengthening Hashabiah, ruler of half the district of Keilah, for his district. After him their brothers, Bawai, son of Henadad, ruler of the other half of the district of Keilah, strengthened. And at his hand Ezer, son of Yeshua, the ruler of Mitzpah, strengthened another section before the going up to the armory at the corner. After him Baruch, son of Zabai, eagerly strengthened the other section, from the buttress to the door of the house of Elishib, the high priest. After him Meremoth, son of Uriah, son of Kots, strengthened another section, from the door of the house of Elishib to the end of the house of Elishib. And after him the priests, the men of the neighborhood, strengthened. And after him Binyamin and Hashub strengthened opposite their house. After them Azariah, son of Maaseiah, son of Ananiah, strengthened near his house. After him Benui, son of Henadad, strengthened another section, from the house of Azariah to the angle, even as far as the corner. Pelalal, son of Uzai, strengthened opposite the corner. And on the tower which projects from the sovereign's upper house, that was by the courtyard of the prison. After him Pedaiah, son of Parosh. Now the Nethinim dwelt in Ophel, as far as opposite the water gate, toward the east, and on the projecting tower. After him the Tekoites strengthened another section, opposite the great projecting tower, and as far as the wall of Ophel. Beyond the horse gate the priests strengthened, each opposite his own house. After them Zadok, son of Immer, strengthened opposite his own house. After him Shemaiah, son of Shechaniah, keeper of the east gate, strengthened. After him Hananiah, son of Shelemiah, and Hanun, the sixth son of Zalaph, strengthened another section. After him Meshullam, son of Berechiah, strengthened opposite his room. After him Malchiah, one of the goldsmiths, strengthened as far as the house of the Nethinim, and of the merchants, opposite the Mifkad gate. and as far as the going up of the corner. And between the going up of the corner to the sheep gate, the goldsmiths and the merchants strengthened. Chapter 4. And it came to be when Sanballat heard that we were rebuilding the wall, that he was wroth, and highly offended, and mocked the Yahudim. And he spoke before his brothers and the army of Shamaron, and said, What are these feeble Yahudim doing? Are they going to restore slaughter completed in a day? Are they going to bring to life the stones from the heaps of rubbish which are burned? And Tobiah the Ammonite was beside him, and he said, Whatever they build, if a fox should climb on it, he shall break down their stone wall. Hear, O our Elohim, for we have become despised, and turn back the reproach on their own heads, and give them as a prey in the land of captivity. And do not cover over their crookedness, and do not let their sin be blotted out from before you, for they have provoked you before the builders. So we built the wall, and the entire wall was joined together up to the half of it, for the people had a heart to work. And it came to be when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabs and the Ammonites and the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were being repaired and the broken places began to be filled, that they became very wroth. And all of them conspired together to come to fight against Jerusalem and to do harm to it. But we prayed to our Elohim and set a watch against them day and night because of them. And Yehudah said, The strength of the burden bearers is weakening, and there is so much rubbish that we are unable to build the wall. And our adversaries said, Let them not know or see it until we come into their midst and shall kill them and cause the work to cease. And it came to be, when the Yahudim who dwelt near them came, that they said to us 10 times, From whatever place you turn, they are against us. So I set men behind the lower parts of the wall at their openings. I set the people according to their clans, with their swords, their spears, and their bows. And I looked, and rose up, and said to the nobles, and to the deputy rulers, and to the rest of the people, Do not be afraid of them. Remember the great and awesome Yahuwah, and fight for your brothers, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your houses. And it came to be when our enemies heard that it was known to us, and that Elohim had brought their counsel to naught, that all of us returned to the wall, everyone to his work. And it came to be from that time on, that half of my servants were working in the work, while the other half were holding the spears, the shields, and the bows, and the breastplates. And the rulers were behind all the house of Yehudah, who were building on the wall, and those bearing burdens, those loading, working with one hand in the work, and with the other holding a weapon. As for the builders, each one had his sword girded at his side as he built, and the one who sounded with the shofar was beside me. And I said to the nobles, and to the deputy rulers, and to the rest of the people, The work is great and large, and we are separated far from one another on the wall. In whatever place you hear the voice of the shofar, join us there. Our Elohim fights for us. So we labored in the work, and half of them held the spears from the break of day until the stars appeared. At that time I also said to the people, Let each man and his servant spend the night in Jerusalem, and they shall be our guard by night, and for the work by day. So neither I nor my brothers, nor my servants, nor the men of the guard who followed me, none of us took off our garments, each one his weapon, even at the water. Chapter 5. And there was a great outcry of the people and their wives against their brothers, the Yahudim. And there were some who were saying, We, our sons and our daughters, are many. Let us get grain for them and eat and live. And there were some who were saying, We have mortgaged our lands and vineyards and houses. Let us buy grain because of the scarcity of food. And there were those who were saying, We have borrowed silver for the sovereign's tax on our lands and the vineyards. And now our flesh is like the flesh of our brothers, our children like their children. And see, we are subjecting our sons and our daughters to be slaves, and some of our daughters have already been subjected, and there is no power in our hands, for other men have our lands and vineyards. But it was very displeasing to me when I heard their outcry in these words, and my heart ruled over me, and I strove with the nobles and with the deputy rulers and said to them, You are exacting interest, each one from his brother. And I called a great assembly against them, and said to them, According to our ability, we have redeemed our brothers, the Yahudim, who were sold to the nations, and you even sell your brothers. Or should they be sold to us? And they were silent, and found not a word to say. I also said, What you are doing is not good. Should you not walk in the fear of our Elohim because of the reproach of the nations, our enemies? And also I, my brothers, and my servants am lending them silver and grain. Please let us leave off this interest. Please give back to them, even today, their lands, their vineyards, their olive trees, and their houses. Also the 100th part of the silver and of the grain, and of the new wine and of the oil that you have taken from them. And they said, Let us give it back, and ask no more from them. We do as you say. Then I called the priests and made them swear to do according to this word. I also shook out the fold of my garment and said, Let Elohim in this way shake out each man from his house and from his property who does not do this word, even to be thus shaken out and emptied. And all the assembly said, Amen, and praised Yahuwah. And the people did according to this word. Also, from the day I was commanded to be their governor in the land of Yehudah, from the 20th year until the 32nd year of sovereign Artashatsa, 12 years, neither I nor my brothers ate the governor's food. But the former governors who were before me laid burdens on the people, and took from them bread and wine, besides 40 shekels of silver. Their servants also oppressed the people, but I did not do so, because of the fear of Elohim. And I also worked strongly in the work on this wall. We did not buy any land, and all my servants were gathered there for the work. And at my table were 150 of the Yahudim and deputy rulers, besides those who came to us from the nations around us. And that which was prepared for me daily was 1 ox and 6 choice sheep, and birds were prepared for me. And once every 10 days plenty of all kinds of wine. And in spite of all this, I did not seek the governor's food, because the bondage was heavy on this people. O my Elohim, remember me for the good, all that I have done for this people. Chapter 6. And it came to be when Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem the Arab and the rest of our enemies heard that I had rebuilt the wall, and that there were no breaks left in them, though at the time I had not set up the doors in the gates, that Sanballat and Geshem sent to me, saying, Come, let us meet together in the villages in the plain of Ono. But they were planning to do evil to me. So I sent messengers to them, saying, I am doing a great work, and I am unable to come down. Why should the work cease while I leave it and come down to you? However, they sent me the same word 4 times, and I answered them the same word. Then Sanballat sent his servant to me with an open letter in his hand, the same word the 5th time. In it was written, Among the nations it has been heard, and Gashmu is saying that you and the Yahudim are planning to rebel. Therefore you are rebuilding the wall, and you are to be their sovereign, according to these words. And you have also appointed prophets to proclaim concerning at Jerusalem, saying, A sovereign is in Yehudah. And now these words are heard by the sovereign. Therefore come now, let us take counsel together. Then I sent to him, saying, There are no such matters done as you are saying, but you are inventing them in your own heart. For all of them were making us afraid, saying, Let their hands be slackened for the work, and it not be done. But now make my hands strong. And when I came to the house of Shemaiah, son of Delaiah, son of Machatabel, who was restrained, he said, Let us meet together in the house of Elohim, inside the Hekal, and let us close the doors of the Hekal, for they are coming to kill you. By night they are coming to kill you. And I said, Should a man like me flee? And who is there like me who would go into the Hekal to save his life? I do not go in. And see, I perceived that Elohim had not sent him, but that he spoke this prophecy against me because of Tobiah and Sanballat had hired him, because he was a hireling, that I should be afraid and do so and shall sin. And so they could give me an evil name to reproach me. My Elohim, remember Tobiah and Sanballat, according to these works of theirs, and the prophetess Noadiah, and the rest of the prophets who would have made me afraid. And the wall was completed on the 25th of the new month of Elul, in 52 days. And it came to be when all our enemies heard, and all the nations around us saw, that they fell greatly in their own eyes, and knew that this work was done by our Elohim. In those days the nobles of Yehudah also sent many letters to Tobiah, while those of Tobiah came to them. And many in Yehudah were sworn to him, because he was the son-in-law of Shechaniah, son of Arach. And his son, Yehochanan, had married the daughter of Meshullam, son of Berechiah. They were also speaking about his good deeds before me, and reported my words to him. Tobiah sent letters to frighten me. Chapter 7. And it came to be when the wall was rebuilt, that I set up the doors and the gatekeepers, and the singers and the Levites were appointed. And I put my brother Hanani in command of Jerusalem, and Hananiah the head of the palace. For he was a trustworthy man, and feared Elohim more than many. And I said to them, Let not the gates of Jerusalem be opened until the sun is hot. And while they are standing by, let them shut the doors and bolt them, and appoint guards from among the inhabitants of Jerusalem, each at his post, and each in front of his own house. And the city was wide on both sides and great, but the people in it were few, and the houses were not rebuilt. And my Elohim put it into my heart to gather the nobles and the deputy rulers and the people in order to be registered by genealogy. And I found a register of the genealogy of those who had come up at the beginning, and I found written in it, These are the sons of the province who came back from the captivity of the exiles, whom Nebuchadnezzar the sovereign of Babel had exiled, and who returned to Jerusalem and Yehudah, each to his city, who came with Zerubbabel, Yeshua, Nehemiah, Azariah, Ramiah, Nahamani, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mispereth, Bigwai, Nahum, Banah. The number of the men of the people of Israel, sons of Parosh, 2,172. Sons of Shephatiah, 372. Sons of Arach, 652. Sons of Pachath Moab, of the sons of Yeshua, and Joab, 2,818. Sons of Elam, 1,254. Sons of Zatu, 845. Sons of Zakai, 760. Sons of Benui, 648. Sons of Babai, 628. Sons of Asgad, 2,322. Sons of Adonikam, 667. Sons of Bigwai, 2,067. Sons of Adin, 655. Sons of Ater, of Hezekiah, 98. Sons of Hashum, 328. Sons of Betzai, 324. Sons of Harif, 112. Sons of Gibbon, 95. Men of Bethlehem and Netophah, 188. Men of Anathoth, 128. Men of Beth Azomaweth, 42. Men of Kiriath Yearim, Kephira, and Beroroth, 743. Men of Ramah and Geba, 621. Men of Michmas, 122. Men of Bethel and Ai, 123. Men of the other Nebo, 52. Sons of the other Elam, 1,254. Sons of Harim, 320. Sons of Jericho, 345. Sons of Lod, Hadid, and Ono, 721. Sons of Setnaah, 3,930. The priests, sons of Yediah, of the house of Yeshua, 973. Sons of Immer, 1,052. Sons of Pashur, 1,247. Sons of Harim, 1,017. The Levites, sons of Yeshua, of Kadmiel, of the sons of Hadawah, 74. The singers, sons of Asaph, 148. The gatekeepers, sons of Shallum, sons of Etir, sons of Talmon, sons of Akub, sons of Hatita, sons of Shobiah, 138. The Nethinim, sons of Tishcha, sons of Hasupha, sons of Tabaoth, sons of Kyrios, sons of Sia, sons of Padon, sons of Lebanah, sons of Hagabah, sons of Salmai, sons of Hanan, sons of Gedel, sons of Gahar, sons of Reiah, sons of Retzin, sons of Nekoda, sons of Gazam, sons of Uzzah, sons of Paseach, sons of Besai, sons of Menunim, sons of Nephishim, sons of Bakbuk, sons of Hachufa, sons of Hachur, sons of Baslith, sons of Machida, sons of Harsha, sons of Barkos, sons of Sisera, sons of Timach, sons of Netitzia, and sons of Hatifah. The sons of Shelomah's servants, sons of Sotai, sons of Sophareth, sons of Perida, sons of Ya'ala, sons of Darkon, sons of Gedel, sons of Shephatiah, sons of Hatil, sons of Pokereth, of Zebaim, sons of Ammon. All the Nethinim and the sons of Shelomah's servants were 392. And these were the ones who came up from Tel Melach, Tel Harsha, Kerub, Adon, and Immer. But they were unable to show their father's house and their seed, whether they were of Yisrael. Sons of Delaiah, sons of Tobiah, sons of Nekoda, 642. And of the priests, sons of Habiah, sons of Kotz, sons of Barzillai, who took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and was called by their name. These sought their register among those who were counted by genealogy, but it was not found. So they were barred from the priesthood as defiled. And the governor said to them that they should not eat of the most set-apart gifts until a priest stood up with the Urim and Tumim. All the assembly together was 42,360. Besides their male and female servants, these were 7,337. And they had 245 men and women singers. Their horses were 736, their mules 245, camels 435, donkeys 6,720. And some of the heads of the fathers' houses contributed to the work. The governor gave to the treasury 1,000 gold derricks, 50 basins, and 530 priestly garments. Some of the heads of the fathers' houses gave to the treasury of the work 20,000 gold derricks and 2,200 silver minas. And the rest of the people gave 20,000 gold derricks, 2,000 silver minas, and 67 priestly garments. So the priests and the Levites and the gatekeepers and the singers and some of the people and the Nethinim and all Yisrael dwelt in their cities. Chapter 8. And when the 7th new moon came, the children of Yisrael were in their cities, and all the people gathered together as one man in the open space that was in front of the water gate. And they spoke to Ezra the scribe to bring the book of the Torah of Moshe, which Yahuwah had commanded Yisrael. And Ezra the priest brought the Torah before the assembly of both men and women, and all who could hear with understanding, on the first day of the 7th new moon. And he read from it at the open space in front of the water gate, from morning until midday, before the men and women and those who could understand. And the ears of all the people listened to the book of the Torah. And Ezra the scribe stood on a platform of wood, which they had made for the purpose. And beside him on his right stood Mattithiah, and Shema, and Ananiah, and Uriah, and Hilkiah, and Messiah. And on his left stood Pedaiah, and Mishael, and Malchiah, and Hashum, and Hashabanadah, Zechariah, Meshullam. And Ezra opened the book in the sight of all the people, for he was above all the people. And when he opened it, all the people stood up. And Ezra blessed Yahuwah, the great Elohim. Then all the people answered, Amen, Amen, while lifting up their hands. And they bowed their heads and worshipped Yahuwah with faces to the ground. And Yeshua, and Bani, and Sherebiah, Yamin, Akub, Shabbathai, Hodiah, Maaseiah, Kelita, Azariah, Yozabad, Hanan, Pelaiah, and the Levites caused the people to understand the Torah while the people were in their place. And they read in the book of the Torah of Elohim, translating to give the sense, and caused them to understand the reading. And Nehemiah, who was the governor, and Ezra the priest, the scribe, and the Levites who taught the people said to all the people, This day is set apart to Yahuwah your Elohim. Do not mourn or weep. For all the people wept when they heard the words of the Torah. Then he said to them, Go, eat the fat, drink the sweet, and send portions to those for whom none is prepared. For this day is set apart to our Yahuwah. Do not be sad, for the joy of Yahuwah is your strength. And the Levites were silencing all the people, saying, Hush, for the day is set apart. Do not be sad. And all the people went to eat and to drink and to send portions and make a great rejoicing, because they understood the words that were made known to them. And on the second day, the heads of the fathers' houses of all the people with the priests and the Levites were gathered to Ezra the scribe, in order to study the words of the Torah. And they found written in the Torah, which Yahuwah had commanded by Moshe, that the children of Israel should dwell in booths in the festival of the 7th new moon, and that they should announce and proclaim in all their cities and in Jerusalem, saying, Go out to the mountain, and bring olive branches, branches of oil trees, and myrtle branches, and palm branches, and branches of leafy trees, to make booths, as it is written. So the people went out and brought them, and made themselves booths, each one on the roof of his house, and in their courtyards, and in the courtyards of the house of Elohim, and in the open space of the water gate, and in the open space of the gate of Ephraim. And the entire assembly of those who had come back from the captivity made booths and sat under the booths. For since the days of Yeshua, son of Nun, until that day, the children of Israel had not done so. And there was very great rejoicing. And day by day, from the first day until the last day, he read from the book of the Torah of Elohim. And they performed the festival 7 days. And on the 8th day there was an assembly, according to the right ruling. Chapter 9. And on the 24th day of this new moon, the children of Israel were assembled with fasting and in sackcloth, and with earth on them. And the descendants of Israel separated themselves from all foreigners, and stood and confessed their sins and the crookedness of their fathers. And they stood up in their place and read from the book of the Torah of Yahuwah, their Elohim, a fourth part of the day, and a fourth part they were confessing and worshiping Yahuwah their Elohim. Then Yeshua and Bani, Kadmiel, Shebaniah, Buni, Sherebiah, Bani, Kenani, stood on the stairs of the Levites and cried out with a loud voice to Yahuwah their Elohim. Then the Levites, Yeshua and Kadmiel, Bani, Hashabaniah, Sherebiah, Hodiah, Shebaniah, Pethahiah, said, Rise, bless Yahuwah your Elohim forever and ever, and let them bless your esteemed name, which is exalted above all blessing and praise. You are Yahuwah, you alone. You have made the heavens of the heavens, with all their host, the earth and all that are on it, the seas and all that are in them, and you give life to them all, and the host of the heavens are bowing themselves to you. You are Yahuwah, the Elohim who chose Avram and brought him out of Ur of the Chaldees, and gave him the name of Abraham, and found his heart trustworthy before you, and made a covenant with him to give the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Jebusites, and the Girgashites, to give it to his seed. And you have established your words, for you are righteous, and saw the affliction of our fathers in Mitzrayim, and heard their cry by the sea of reeds, and gave signs and wonders against Pharaoh, and against all his servants, and against all the people of his land. For you knew that they acted proudly against them. And you made a name for yourself as it is this day. And you split the sea before them, and they passed over into the midst of the sea on the dry land. And their pursuers you threw into the deep as a stone into the mighty waters. And you led them by day with a cloudy column, and by night with a column of fire, to give them light in the way they were to go. And you came down on Mount Sinai, and spoke with them from the heavens, and gave them straight right rulings and Torot of truth, good laws and commands. And you made known to them your set-apart Sabbath, and you commanded them commands and laws and Torah by the hand of Moshe your servant. And you gave them bread from the heavens for their hunger, and brought them water out of the rock for their thirst, and said to them to go in to possess the land which you had sworn to give them. But they and our fathers acted proudly, and hardened their necks, and did not obey your commands. And they refused to obey, and they remembered not your wonders that you did among them, and hardened their necks. And in their rebellion they appointed a leader to return to their bondage. But you are a forgiving Eloah, showing favor and compassionate, patient and of great loving commitment, and did not forsake them, even when they made a molded calf for themselves, and said, This is your mighty one that brought you up out of Mitzrayim, and worked great blasphemies. Yet you, in your great compassion, did not forsake them in the wilderness. The column of the cloud did not turn away from them by day to lead them on the way, nor the column of fire by night to give them light in the way they were to go. You also gave them your good spirit to instruct them, and did not withhold your manna from their mouth, and gave them water for their thirst. And for 40 years you sustained them in the wilderness. They lacked not. Their garments did not wear out, and their feet did not swell. And you gave them reigns and peoples, and apportioned them their lot. So they took possession of the land of Sihon, and the land of the sovereign of Heshbon, and the land of Og, sovereign of Bashan. And you increased their children as the stars of the heavens, and brought them into the land which you had said to their fathers to go in and possess. So the sons went in and possessed the land, and you humbled before them the people of the land, the Canaanites, and gave them into their hands, with their sovereigns and the people of the land, to do with them as they desired. And they captured walled cities in a rich land, and possessed houses filled with all good, cisterns already dug, vineyards and olive trees and fruit trees in plenty. So they ate and were satisfied and grew fat, and delighted themselves in your great goodness. But they became disobedient, and rebelled against you, and cast your Torah behind their backs. And they kill your prophets who warned them, to bring them back to yourself, and they worked great blasphemies. Therefore you gave them into the hand of their enemies, who distressed them. And at the time of their distress, when they cried to you, you heard from the heavens, and according to your great compassion, you gave them saviors, who saved them from the hand of their enemies. But after they had rest, they turned back to do evil before you. Then you left them in the hand of their enemies, so that they ruled over them. But when they turned back and cried out to you, you heard from the heavens and delivered them according to your compassion many times, and warned them to bring them back to your Torah. But they acted proudly and did not obey your commands, and sinned against your right rulings, which if a man does, he shall live by them. And they gave the rebellious shoulder, and hardened their necks, and would not hear. And you had patience with them for many years, and did warn them by your Spirit, by the hand of your prophets. Yet they would not give ear. Therefore you gave them into the hand of the peoples of the lands, But in your great compassion you did not make an end of them, nor forsake them. For you are an El of favor and compassion. And now our Elohim, the great, the mighty and awesome El, guarding the covenant and the loving commitment, let not all the trouble that has come upon us, our sovereigns and our heads, our priests and our prophets, our fathers, and on all your people, from the days of the sovereigns of Asher until this day, seem little before you. And in all that has come upon us, you are righteous, for you have done truth, but we have done wrong. And our sovereign, our rulers, our priests, and our fathers have not done your Torah, nor heeded your commands, and your witnesses, with which you witnessed against them. For they have not served you in their reign, or in your great goodness that you gave them, or in the large and rich land which you set before them, neither turned back from their evil deeds. See, we are servants today, in the land that you gave to our fathers to eat its fruit and the good of it. See, we are servants in it, and its rich yield goes to the sovereigns you have set over us because of our sins, and they rule over our bodies and our livestock at their pleasure, and we are in great distress. And because of all this, we are making a trustworthy pledge and write it, and our rulers, our Levites, our priests, set their seal on it. Chapter 10. And those who set their seal were Nehemiah the governor, son of Hakaliah, and Zedekiah, Sariah, Azariah, Jeremiah, Pashur, Armaiah, Malachiah, Hattush, Shebaniah, Maluk, Harim, Meremoth, Obadiah, Daniel, Genathon, Baruch, Meshullam, Abiah, Miyamin, Maziah, Bilgai, and Shemaiah. These were the priests. And the Levites, both Yeshua, son of Atzaniah, Benui of the sons of Henadad, Kadmiel, and their brothers, Shebaniah, Hodiah, Kelita, Peliah, Hanan, Micah, Rehob, Hashabiah, Zakur, Sherebiah, Shebaniah, Hodiah, Bani, and Beninu, the leaders of the people, Parosh, Pahath Moab, Elam, Zatu, Bani, Bunai, Asgod, Bebai, Adoniah, Bigwai, Adin, Ater, Hezekiah, Azur, Hodiah, Hashum, Betzai, Harif, Anathoth, Nabai, Magpiash, Meshullam, Chazer, Meshezabel, Zadok, Yadui, Pelatiah, Hanan, Ananiah, Hoshea, Hananiah, Hashub, Holochesh, Pilcha, Shobek, Rehum, Hashbanah, Maasaiah, Ahiah, Hanan, Anan, Maluk, Harim, Bana, and the rest of the people, the priests, the Levites, the gatekeepers, the singers, the Nethinim, and all those who had separated themselves from the peoples of the lands unto the Torah of Elohim, their wives, their sons, and their daughters, all who had knowledge and understanding, were strengthening their brothers, their nobles, and were entering into a curse and into an oath to walk in the Torah of Elohim, which was given by Moshe, the servant of Elohim, and to guard and do all the commands of Yahuwah our Master, and his right rulings and his laws, that we would not give our daughters as wives to the people of the land, nor take their daughters for our sons, and that if the peoples of the land bring wares or any grain to sell on the Sabbath day, we would not buy it from them on the Sabbath, or on a set-apart day, and we would forego the 7th year in the interest of every hand. And we imposed commands on ourselves to give from ourselves yearly 1/3 of a shekel for the service of the house of our Elohim, for the showbread, and for the continual grain offering, and for the continual ascending offering of the Sabbaths, of the new moons, for the appointed times, and for the set-apart offerings, and for the sin offerings, to make atonement for Yisrael, and all the work of the house of our Elohim. And we cast lots among the priests and the Levites and the people for bringing the wood offering into the house of our Elohim, according to our fathers' houses, at the appointed times year by year, to burn on the slaughter place of Yahuwah our Elohim, as it is written in the Torah, and to bring the first fruits of our soil, and the first fruits of all fruit of all trees, year by year, to the house of Yahuwah. Also to bring the firstborn of our sons and our livestock, as it is written in the Torah, and the firstlings of our herds and our flocks, to the house of our Elohim, to the priests attending in the house of our Elohim, and that we should bring the first fruits of our dough, and our contribution and the fruit of all kinds of trees, of new wine and of oil, to the priests, to the storerooms of the house of our Elohim, and the tithes of our lands to the Levites. For the Levites should receive the tithes in all our rural towns, and the priest, son of Aharon, shall be with the Levites when the Levites receive tithes. And the Levites bring up 1/10 of the tithes to the house of our Elohim, to the rooms of the storehouse. For the children of Israel and the children of Levi bring the offering of the grain, of the new wine and the oil to the storerooms, where the vessels of the set-apart place are, where the priests who attend and the gatekeepers and the singers are, and we should not neglect the house of our Elohim. Chapter 11. Now the rulers of the people dwelt at Jerusalem, and the rest of the people cast lots to bring 1 out of 10 to dwell in Jerusalem, the set-apart city, and 9/10 were to dwell in other cities. And the people blessed all the men who volunteered to dwell at Jerusalem. And these are the heads of the province who dwelt in Jerusalem. But in the cities of Yehudah, everyone dwelt in his own possession in their cities. Yisrael, the priests and the Levites, and the Nethanim, and the sons of Shalom's servant. And in Jerusalem dwelt certain of the children of Yehudah, and of the children of Benjamin, of the children of Yehudah, Athaiah, son of Uzziah, son of Zechariah, son of Amariah, son of Shephatiah, son of Mahalalel, son of the children of Peretz, and Maasaiah, son of Baruch, son of Kol Hoseh, son of Chaziah, son of Adaiah, son of Yoyarib, son of Zechariah, son of Shiloni. All the sons of Peretz who dwelt at Jerusalem were 468 brave men. And these are the sons of Benjamin: Salu, son of Meshulam, son of Yoed, son of Pedaiah, son of Kolaiah, son of Maasaiah, son of Ithael, son of Yashiah. And after him, Gabai, Salai, 928. And Yoel, son of Zikri, was their overseer. And Yehudah, son of Senuiah, was second over the city. Of the priests, Yediah, son of Yorabib, Yakin, Sariah, son of Hilkiah, son of Meshulam, son of Zadok, son of Merioth, son of Achitub, was the leader of the house of Elohim. And their brothers who did the work of the house were 822. And Adaiah, son of Yeroham, son of Peliah, son of Amtzi, son of Zechariah, son of Pashur, son of Malachiah, and his brothers, heads of the fathers' houses, were 242. And Amashai, son of Azarel, son of Ahazi, son of Meshillemoth, son of Immer, and their brothers, mighty brave ones, were 128. And their overseer was Zabdiel, son of the great ones. Also of the Levites, Shemaiah, son of Hashub, son of Azrikam, son of Hashabiah, son of Buni, and Shabbathai, and Yozabad, of the heads of the Levites, over the outside work of the house of Elohim, and Mattaniah, son of Micah, son of Zabdi, son of Asaph, who was the leader, who began the thanksgiving with prayer, and Bakbukiah, the second among his brothers, and Abda, son of Shammua, son of Galal, son of Yaduthun. All the Levites in the set-apart city were 284, and the gatekeepers, Akub, Talmon, and their brothers keeping guard at the gates were 172. And the rest of Yisrael, of the priests, Levites, were in all the cities of Yehudah, each one in his inheritance. But the Nethanim, dwelt in Ophel, and Tischa and Gishpa were over the Nethanim. And the overseer of the Levites at Jerusalem was Uzai, son of Bani, son of Hashabiah, son of Mattaniah, son of Micah. Of the sons of Asaph, the singers were over the work of the house of Elohim. For the sovereign's command was upon them, and support for the singers, a matter day by day. And Pethaliah, son of Meshezabel, of the children of Zerach, son of Yehuda, was the sovereign's deputy in all matters concerning the people. And at the villages with their fields, some of the children of Yehuda dwelt in Kiriath Arba, and its villages, and in Dibon, and its villages, and in Yekobetzel, and its villages, and in Yeshua, and in Molada, and in Beth Pelet, and in Chatzar Shaul, and in Beersheba, and its villages, and in Ziglag, and in Makona, and its villages, and in En Remon, and in Zorah, and in Yarmuth, Zanoah, Adullam, and their villages, in Lachish and its fields, in Azekah and its villages. So they dwelt from Beersheba to the valley of Hinnom. And the children of Benjamin, from Geba, Michmash, and Ayah, and Bethel, and their villages, Anathoth, Nob, Anaiah, Chatzor, Ramah, Gittayim, Chadid, Zeboim, Nebalat, Lod, and Ono, and the valley of craftsmen. And of the Levites, the divisions of Yehuda were for Benjamin. Chapter 12. And these were the priests and the Levites who came up with Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and Yeshua, Sariah, Jeremiah, Ezra, Amariah, Maluk, Hattush, Shechaniah, Rehum, Meremoth, Iddo, Genothoi, Abiah, Mayamin, Maadiah, Bilgah, Shemaiah, and Yarorib, Yediah, Salu, Amok, Hilkiah, and Yediah. These were the heads of the priests and their brothers in the days of Yeshua, and the Levites, Yeshua, Benui, Kadmiel, Sherebiah, Yehuda, Mattaniah, over the thanksgiving, he and his brothers, and Bakbuya and Uni, their brothers, were opposite them for guard duties. And Yeshua brought forth Joachim, and Joachim brought forth Eliashib, and Eliashib brought forth Joiada, and Joiada brought forth Jonathan, and Jonathan brought forth Yaduah. And in the days of Joachim, the priests, the heads of the fathers' houses, were of Sariah, Moriah, of Jeremiah, Hananiah, of Ezra, Meshulam, of Amariah, Yehochanan, of Maliku, Jonathan, of Shebaniah, Joseph, of Harim, Adna, of Merioth, Helkai, of Iddo, Zechariah, of Ginnathon, Meshulam, of Abiah, Zikri, son of Miamin, of Moadiah, Piltai, of Bilgah, Shammua, of Shemaiah, Jonathan, of Yeroib, Mattanai, of Yediah, Uzi, of Salai, Kalai, of Amok, Eber, of Hilkiah, Hashobiah, and of Yediah, Nathaniel. The Levites and the priests in the days of Elishib, Joiada, Yochanan, and Yaduah were recorded heads of their fathers' houses. Also the priests in the reign of Darius the Persian, the sons of Levi, the heads of the fathers' houses, until the days of Yochanan, son of Elishib, were written in the book of the annals. And the heads of the Levites were Hashabiah, Sherebiah, and Yeshua, son of Kadmiel, with their brothers opposite them, to praise, to give thanks, watch opposite watch, according to the command of David, the man of Elohim. Mattaniah, and Bakbukia, Obadiah, Meshulam, Talman, Akub, were gatekeepers, guarding at the storerooms of the gates. These were in the days of Joachim, son of Yeshua, son of Yotzadak, and in the days of Nehemiah the governor, and of Ezra the priest, the scribe. And at the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, they sought out the Levites in all their places, to bring them to Jerusalem to perform the dedication with gladness and with thanksgivings, and with singing, cymbals, harps, and lyres. And the sons of the singers gathered together from the countryside around Jerusalem, from the villages of the Netophathites, and from the house of Gilgal, and from the fields of Geba and Azamaweth. For the singers had built themselves villages all around Jerusalem. And the priests and Levites cleansed themselves, and they cleansed the people and the gates and the wall. And I brought the rulers of Yehudah up on the wall, and appointed 2 large thanksgiving choirs to go to the right on the wall toward the dung gate. And after them went Hoshea, and half of the rulers of Yehudah. Then Azariah, Ezra, and Meshullam, Yehudah, and Benjamin, and Shemoiah, and Jeremiah. And of the sons of the priests with trumpets, Zechariah, son of Jonathan, son of Shemaiah, son of Mattaniah, son of Micaiah, son of Zakur, son of Asaph. And his brothers, Shemaiah and Azarel, Milalai, Gilalai, Ma'ai, Nathaniel, and Yehudah, Hanani, with instruments of songs of David, the man of Elohim, with Ezra the scribe before men. And at the fountain gate, and straight ahead of them, they went up the stairs of the city of David, on the stairway of the wall, beyond the house of David, as far as the water gate eastward. And on the other thanksgiving choir went over against them, and I behind them with half of the people on the wall, going past the tower of the ovens as far as the broad wall, and above the gate of Ephraim, and above the old gate, and above the fish gate, and the tower of Hananel, and the tower of the 100, as far as the sheep gate. And they stood still at the gate of the prison. Then the 2 thanksgiving choirs took their stand in the house of Elohim, I and half of the deputy rulers with me. And the priests, Eliakim, Messiah, Minyamin, Micaiah, Eloyainai, Zechariah, and Hananiah with trumpets, and Messiah, and Shemaiah, and Eleazar, and Uzi, and Yehochanan, and Micaiah, and Elam, and Ezer, and the singers sang aloud with Yezariah in charge. And on that day they slaughtered great slaughterings, and rejoiced, for Elohim had made them rejoice with great joy. And the women and the children also rejoiced, so that the joy of Jerusalem was heard far away. And on that day some were appointed over the rooms, for the stores, for the contributions, for the first fruits, and for tithes, to gather into them from the fields of the cities the portions required by the Torah for the priests and for the Levites. For Yehudah rejoiced over the priests and the Levites who stood up. Both the singers and the gatekeepers guarded the charge of their Elohim, and the charge of the cleansing according to the command of David and Shelomah his son. For in the days of David and Asaph of old there were chiefs of the singers, and songs of praise and thanksgiving to Elohim. And in the days of Zerubbabel, and in the days of Nehemiah, all Israel gave the portion for the singers and the gatekeepers, a portion for each day. And they set apart what was for the Levites, and the Levites set apart what was for the children of Aharon. Chapter 13. On that day was read from the book of Moshe in the hearing of the people, and in it was found written that an Ammonite and a Moabite should not come into the assembly of Elohim forever, because they had not met the children of Israel with bread and water, and hired Balaam against them to curse them, although our Elohim turned the curse into a blessing. And it came to be, when they had heard the Torah, that they separated all the mixed multitude from Israel. And before this, Eliashib the priest, having authority over the storerooms of the house of our Elohim, was a relative of Tobiah, and he had prepared for him a large room, where previously they had stored the grain offerings, the frankincense, the utensils, and the tithes of grain, the new wine and the oil, which were commanded to be given to the Levites, and the singers, and the gatekeepers, and the contributions for the priests. But in all this I was not in Jerusalem, for in the 32nd year of Artashatzah, sovereign of Babel, I came to the sovereign, And after some days I asked leave from the sovereign to return. And I came to Jerusalem and learned of the evil which Eliashib had done for Tobiah in preparing a room for him in the courts of the house of Elohim. And it was very displeasing to me. Therefore I threw all the household goods of Tobiah out of the room, and I commanded them to cleanse the rooms, and I put back into them the utensils of the house of Elohim, with the grain offerings and the frankincense. And I learned that the portions for the Levites had not been given them, for each of the Levites and the singers who did the work had gone back to his field. Then I contended with the deputy rulers and said, "Why is the house of Elohim forsaken?" And I gathered them together and set them in their place. And all Yehudah brought the tithe of the grain and the new wine and the oil to the storehouse. And I appointed as treasurers over the storehouses Shelmiah the priest, and Zadok the scribe, and Pedaiah of the Levites. And at their hand was Hanan, son of Zakur, son of Mattaniah, for they were reckoned trustworthy, and it was on them to distribute to their brothers. Remember me, O my Elohim, concerning this, and do not wipe out my loving commitments that I have done for the house of my Elohim and for its charges. In those days I saw in Yehudah those treading wine presses on the Sabbath, and bringing in sheaves and loading donkeys with wine, grapes and figs, and all kinds of burdens, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. So I warned them on the day they sold food. And the men of Zoar dwelt there, bringing in fish and all kinds of goods, and sold them on the Sabbath to the children of Yehudah, and in Jerusalem. Then I contended with the nobles of Yehudah and said to them, "What evil matter is this that you are doing, profaning the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers do the same, so that our Elohim brought all this evil on us and on this city? Yet you bring added wrath on Yisrael by profaning the Sabbath." And it came to be, when the gates of Jerusalem were shaded before the Sabbath, that I commanded the doors to be shut, and I commanded that they should not be opened till after the Sabbath. And I stationed some of my servants at the gates, so that no burdens would be brought in on the Sabbath day. And the merchants and sellers of all kinds of wares spent the night outside Jerusalem, once or twice. And I warned them and said to them, "Why do you spend the night around the wall? If you do so again, I lay hands on you." From that time on they came no more on the Sabbath. And I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves, and they should come, guarding the gates, to set apart the Sabbath day. Remember me, O my Elohim, concerning this also, and pardon me according to the greatness of your loving commitment. In those days I also saw Yahudim, who had married women of Ashdod, Ammon, and Moab, and half of their children spoke the language of Ashdod, and could not speak the language of Yehudah, but spoke according to the language of one or the other people. Then I contended with them, and cursed them, and struck some of them, and pulled out their hair, and made them swear by Elohim, saying, "You do not give your daughters as wives to their sons, nor take their daughters for your sons or yourselves. Did not Shelomah, sovereign of Israel, sin because of them? Among the many nations there was no sovereign like him, who was beloved of his Elohim. And Elohim made him sovereign over all Israel, even him foreign women caused to sin. Should we then hear of your doing all this great evil, trespassing against our Elohim by marrying foreign wives?" And one of the sons of Joiada, son of Eliashib the high priest, was a son-in-law of Sanballat the Horonite, and I drove him from me. Remember them, O my Elohim, because they have defiled the priesthood, and the covenant of the priesthood and of the Levites. Thus I cleansed from all that is foreign. And I appointed duties to the priests and the Levites, each in his task, and for the wood offering and the first fruits at appointed times. Remember me, O my Elohim, for good. The Book of 1 Chronicles, Dibri Ha-Yamim Aleph. Chapter 1. Adam, Sheth, Enosh, Kenan, Mahalalel, Yared, Hanok, Methuselah, Lamech, Noach, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Yawan, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Tyrus. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Diphath, and Togarma. And the sons of Yawan, Elisha, and Tarshisha, Kittim, and Rodanim. The sons of Ham, Cush, and Mitzrayim, Put, and Canaan. And the sons of Cush, Seba, and Hawilah, and Sabta, and Ramah, and Sapteka. And the sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan. And Cush brought forth Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one on the earth. And Mitzrayim brought forth the Ludim, and the Anamim, and the Lechabim, and the Naphtuchim, and the Pathrusim, and the Kasluchim, from whom came the Philistines and the Kaphtorim. And Canaan brought forth Zidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Arkite, and the Sinite, and the Arwadite, and the Sermite, and the Hamathite. The sons of Shem, Elam, and Ashur, and Arpachshad, and Lud, and Aram, and Uts, Hul, and Gether, and Meshech. And Arpachshad brought forth Shelah, and Shelah brought forth Eber. To Eber were born 2 sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided. And his brother's name was Yoktan. And Yoktan brought forth Almodad, and Sheleph, and Hatzowermath, and Yarach, and Hadoram, and Uzal, and Dikla, and Ibal, and Abimael, and Sheba, and Ophir, and Hawilah, and Yobab. All these were the sons of Yoktan: Shem, Arpachshad, Shelah, Eber, Peleg, Reu, Serug, Nahor, Terah, and Abram. That is Abraham. The sons of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yishmael. These are their genealogies. The firstborn of Yishmael was Nebaioth, and Kedar, and Adbeel, and Mibsam, Mishma, and Duma, and Massa, Hadad, and Tema, Yetur, Nephish, and Kedema. These were the sons of Yishmael. And the sons born to Keturah, Abraham's concubine, Zimran, and Yokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Yishbak, and Shua. The sons of Yokshan, Sheba, and Dedan. And the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Epher, and Hanok, and Abida, and Eldaah. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham brought forth Yitzhak, the sons of Yitzhak, Esau, and Yisrael. The sons of Esau, Eliphaz, Reuel, and Yeush, and Yaalam, and Korah. And the sons of Eliphaz, Temam, and Omar, Zephi, and Gatam, and Kenaz, and Timnah, and Amalek. The sons of Reuel, Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. And the sons of Sair, Lotan, and Shobal, and Zibon, and Anna, and Dishon, and Etzer, and Dishan. And the sons of Lotan, Hori, and Chomam. Lotan's sister was Timnah. The sons of Shobal, Alian, and Malchath, and Ebal, Shephi, and Onam. The sons of Zibon, Eya, and Anna. The son of Anna was Dishon. The sons of Dishon, Hamran, and Eshban, and Yithran, and Karan. The sons of Etzer, Bilhan, and Zawan, and Yakan. The sons of Dishban, Uts, and Aran. And these were the sovereigns who reigned in the land of Edom, before any sovereign reigned over the children of Israel. Bela, son of Beor, and the name of his city was Dinachabah. And when Bela died, Jobab son of Zerah of Batzorah reigned in his place. And Jobab died, and Husham of the land of the Temanites reigned in his place. And when Husham died, Hadad son of Bedad, who struck Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his place. The name of his city was Awith. And Hadad died, and Samlah of Masrekah reigned in his place. And Samlah died, and Shaul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his place. And Shaul died, and Baal-Hanan son of Achbor reigned in his place. And Baal-Hanan died, and Hadad reigned in his place. And the name of his city was Baai, and his wife's name was Machatabeel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. And Hadad died, and the chiefs of Edom were Chief Timnah, Chief Eliah, Chief Yatheth, Chief Oholibamah, Chief Elah, Chief Pinon, Chief Kenaz, Chief Teman, Chief Mibzar, Chief Magdael, and Chief Iram. These were the chiefs of Edom. Chapter 2. These were the sons of Yisrael: Reuben, Shimon, Levi, and Yehudah, Yissachar and Zebulun, Dan, Joseph, Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. The sons of Yehudah: and Onan, and Shelah, the three born to him by the daughter of Shua, the Canaanitess. And the firstborn of Yehudah, was evil in the eyes of Yahuwah, and he slew him. And Tamar, his daughter-in-law, bore him Peretz and Zerach. All the sons of Yehudah were 5. The sons of Peretz: Chetzron and Chamul. And the sons of Zerach: Zimri, and Ethan, and Heman, and Kolkol, and Dara, 5 of them in all. And the son of Carmi was Achar, the troubler of Yisrael, who trespassed in that which was under the ban. And the son of Ethan was Azariah. And the sons of Chetzron, who were born to him: Yehrumael, and Ram, and Kalubai. Ram brought forth Aminadab, and Aminadab brought forth Nachoshon, leader of the children of Yehudah. Nachshon brought forth Salma, and Salma brought forth Boaz. Boaz brought forth Obed, and Obed brought forth Yishai. Yishai brought forth Eliab his firstborn, and Abinadab the second, and Shema the third, Nathaniel the fourth, Radai the fifth, Otsem the sixth, David the seventh, and their sisters Zeruiah and Abigail. And the sons of Zeruiah: Abishai, and Joab, and Asahel, 3. And Abigail bore Amasa, and the father of Amasa was Jether, the Yishmaelite. And Caleb son of Chetzron brought forth children by Azubah his wife, and by Yerioth. Now these were her sons: Yesher, and Shobab, and Ardon. And Azubah died, and Caleb took Ephrath as his wife, who bore him Hur. And Hur brought forth Uri, and Uri brought forth Bezalel. And afterward Chetzron went in to the daughter of Machir, the father of Gilad, whom he took when he was 60 years old, and she bore him Segub. And Segub brought forth Yair, who had 23 cities in the land of Gilad. And he took from them Geshur and Aram, with the towns of Yair, with Kenath and its towns, 60 towns. All these belonged to the sons of Machir, the father of Gilad. And after the death of Chetzron in Caleb, Ephrathah, Hetzron's wife, Abiah, bore him Asher, the father of Tekoa. And the sons of Yerahmeel, the firstborn of Chetzron, were Ram the firstborn, and Bunah, and Oren, and Otsem, and Ahiah. And Yerahmeel had another wife, whose name was Atara. She was the mother of Onam. And the sons of Ram, the firstborn, Yerahmeel, were Matz, and Yamin, and Eker. And the sons of Onam were Shammai, and Yada. And the sons of Shammai, Nadab and Abishur, And the name of the wife of Abishur was Abihail. And she bore him Achban, and Molid. And the sons of Nadab, Seled and Apayim. And Seled died without children. And the sons of Apayim was Yishi. And the son of Yishi was Sheshan. And the son of Sheshan was Achalai. And the sons of Yada, the brother of Shammai, Yether and Jonathan. And Yether died without children. And the sons of Jonathan, Peleth and Zaza. These were the sons of Yerahmael. And Sheshan had no sons, only daughters. And Sheshan had a Mitzrite servant whose name was Yarach. And Sheshan gave his daughter to Yacha, his servant, as wife, and she bore him Attai. And Attai brought forth Nathan, and Nathan brought forth Zabad. And Zabad brought forth Ephalal, and Ephalal brought forth Obed. And Obed brought forth Jehu, and Jehu brought forth Azariah. And Azariah brought forth Cheletz, and Cheletz brought forth Elasa. And Elasa brought forth Sismai, and Sismai brought forth Shallum, and Shallum brought forth Yechamiah, and Yechamiah brought forth Elshama. And the sons of Caleb, the brother of Yerahmael, Misha, his firstborn, who was the father of Ziph. And the sons of Mareshah, the father of Hebron. And the sons of Hebron, Korah, and Tapua, and Rakem, and Shema. And Shema brought forth Recham, the father of Yorkeam. And Recham brought forth Shimei. And the son of Shimei was Maon. And Maon was the father of Beth-zur. And Ephah, Caleb's concubine, bore Haran, and Motzah, and Gazez. And Haran brought forth Gazez. And the sons of Yadai, Regem, and Yotham, and Geshan, and Pelet, and Ephah, and Sha'af. Makah, Caleb's concubine, bore Sheber, and Tirhana. And she bore Sha'af, the father of Madmana. Shewa, the father of Machbina, and the father of Geba, and the daughter of Caleb, was Aksa. These were the descendants of Caleb, the sons of Hur, the firstborn of Ephrathath, Shobal, the father of Kiriath Ye'arim, Salma, the father of Bethlehem, Haraph, the father of Beth-Gader, and Shobal, the father of Kiriath Ye'arim, had descendants. Haroeh, half of the Menahothites, and the clan of Kiriath Ye'arim, the Yithrites, and the Puthites, and the Shumathites, and the Mishraites. From these came the Zorathites, and the Eshtaolites. The sons of Salma, Bethlehem, the Netophathites, Atroth, Beth-Joab, and half of the Mechetatites, and the Zorites, and the clans of the scribes who dwelt at Yabetz, the Tirathites, the Shimathites, and Sukathites. These were the Canaanites, who came from Hamath, the father of the house of Rechab. Chapter 3. And these were the sons of David, who were born to him in Hebron. The firstborn was Ammon, by Ahinoam the Israelitess. The second, Daniel, by Abigail the Carmelitess. The third, Absalom, son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, sovereign of Geshur. The fourth, Adoniah, son of Haggith. The fifth, Shephatiah, by Abital. The sixth, Yithraam, by his wife Eglah. 6 were born to him in Hebron, and he reigned there 7 years and 6 new moons. And in Jerusalem he reigned 33 years. And these were born to him in Jerusalem, Shema, and Shobab, and Nathan, and Shelomah. 4 by Bathshua, the daughter of Amiel. Yibchar also, and Elshama, and Eliphelet, and Nogah, and Nepheg, and Yaphiah, and Elshama, and Eliada, and Elphelet. 9. All the sons of David, beside the sons of the concubines, and Tamar their sister. And Shelomah's son was Rehoboam, Abiah his son, Asa his son, Jehoshaphat his son, Joram his son, Asayahu his son, Jotham his son, Ahaz his son, Hezekiahu his son, Manasseh his son, Amon, his son, Yoshiyahu, his son, and the sons of Yoshiyahu, Yochanan, the firstborn, the second, Jehoiakim, the third, Zedekiyahu, the fourth, Shallum, and the sons of Jehoiakim, Jeconiah, his son, and Zedekiah, his son, and the sons of Jeconiah, the captive, Shealtiel, his son, and Malchiram, and Pedaiah, and Shenazzar, Jechoniah, Hoshama, and Nedabiah, and the sons of Pedaiah, Zerubbabel, and Shimei, the sons of Zerubbabel, Meshullam, and Hananiah, and Shelomith, their sister, and Hashubah, and Ohel, and Berechiah, and Hasadiah, Yushbab, Hesed, 5, and the sons of Hananiah, Pelatiah, and Yeshaiah, the sons of Rephaiah, the sons of Arnan, the sons of Obadiah, the sons of Shechaniah, and the son of Shechaniah, Shemaiah, the sons of Shemaiah, Chatush, Gigal, and Bariah, and Neriah, and Shaphat, 6, and the sons of Neriah, Elioenai, and Hezekiah, and Azrikam, 3, and the sons of Elioenai, Hodawa, and Eliashib, and Peliah, and Akub, and Yochanan, and Delaiah, and Anani, 7. Chapter 4. The sons of Yehuda, Peretz, and Chetzron, and Carmi, and Hur, and Shobal, and Reiah, son of Shobal, brought forth Yahath, and Yahath brought forth Ahumai, and Lahad. These were the clans of the Zorathites, and these were of the father of Etam, Yisreel, and Yishma, and Yidbash, and the name of their sister was Hatzorlaponi, and Penuel was the father of Gedor, and Ezer was the father of Husha. These were the sons of Hur, the firstborn of Ephrathath, the father of Bethlehem. And Ashur, the father of Tekoa, had 2 wives, Helah and Nara. And Nara brought forth Ahuzam, and Hefer, and Temani, and Hashatari. These were the sons of Naara. And the sons of Helah, Zereth, and Zohar, and Ethnan. And Kots brought forth Anub, and Zobehbah, and the clans of Achel, son of Harum. And Yabetz was more esteemed than his brothers, and his mother called his name Yabetz, saying, Because I bore him in pain. And Yabetz called on the Elohim of Yisrael, saying, Oh, that you would bless me indeed, and enlarge my border, and that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, not to be my pain. And Elohim gave him what he asked. And Caleb, the brother of Shucha, brought forth Macher, who was the father of Eshton. And Eshton brought forth Bethrapha, and Paseach, and Techina, the father of Ir Nachash. These were the men of Rekah. And the sons of Kenaz, Othniel, and Sariah. And the sons of Othniel, Chathath, and Mahonathai, who brought forth Ophrah. And Sariah brought forth Joab, the father of Gay Harashim, for they were craftsmen. And the sons of Caleb, the son of Yefunah, Eru, Elah, and Naam. And the son of Elah was Kenaz. And the sons of Yehalalel, Ziph, and Ziphah, Tereah, and Asarel. And the sons of Ezra, Yether, and Mered, and Epher, and Yolan. And she bore Miriam, and Shammai, and Yishbach, the father of Eshetemoah. And his wife, Yehudiah, bore Yared, the father of Gedor, and Heber, the father of Soko, and Yekuthiel, the father of Zanoah. And these were the sons of Bithia, the daughter of Pharaoh, whom Mered took. And the sons of Hodiah's wife, the sister of Nacham, were the fathers of Keilah, the Garmite, and the Eshtemoah, the Makathite. And the sons of Shimon, Ammon, and Rina, Ben Hanan, and Tulun, and the sons of Yishai, Zocheth, and Ben Zocheth, the sons of Shelah, the son of Yehuda, the father of Lekah, and Lada, the father of Marshah, and the clans of the house of the linen workers of the house of Ashbeah, and Joachim, and the men of Kozibah, and Joash, and Saraph, who ruled in Moab, and Yashubi Lechem. But the records were ancient. These were the potters, and those who dwell at Natim, and Gedara. There they dwelt with the sovereign for his work. The sons of Shimon, Nemuel, and Yamin, Yarib, Zerach, Shaul, Shalom his son, Mibsam his son, Mishma his son, and the sons of Mishma, Chamuel his son, Zakur his son, Shimei his son. And Shimei had 16 sons and 6 daughters. But his brothers did not have many children, nor did any of their clans increase as much as the children of Yehuda. And they dwelt at Beersheba, and Muladah, and Chatzor Shual, and at Bilhah, and at Etzem, and at Tolad, and at Bethuel, and at Hormah, and at Ziklag, and at Beth Markaboth, and at Hatzor, Susim, and at Beth Beri, and at Sharayim. These were their cities until the reign of David. And their villages were Etam, and Ayin, and Rimmon, and Token, and Ashan, 5 cities, and all the villages that were around these cities as far as Baal. These were their dwelling places, and they kept their genealogy. Meshobab, and Yamlech, and Yosha, son of Amatsiah, and Yoel, and Yehu, son of Yoshibiah, son of Sariah, son of Asiel, and Elionai, and Yokabah, and Yeshioyah, and Asiyah, and Adiel, and Yisimael, and Benaiah, and Ziza, son of Shiphi, son of Alon, son of Yediah, son of Shimri, son of Shemaiah. These mentioned by name were leaders in their clans, and their father's house increased greatly. And they went to the entrance of Gedor as far as the east side of the valley to look for pasture for their flocks. And they found rich, good pasture, and the land was broad, undisturbed and safe, for some Hamites had dwelt there formerly. And these, written by name, came in the days of Hezekiah, sovereign of Yehuda, and struck their tents and the homes that were found there, and put them under the ban, as it is to this day, and dwelt in their place, because there was pasture for their flocks there. And some of them, 500 men of the sons of Shimon, went to Mount Seir, having as their chief Pelatiah, and Neriah, and Rephaiah, and Uziel, the sons of Yishai. And they struck the rest of the Amalekites who had escaped, and dwelt there to this day. Chapter 5. As for the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Yisrael, he was the firstborn, but because he profaned his father's bed, his birthright was given to the sons of Joseph, son of Yisrael, so that the genealogy is not listed according to the birthright. For Yehuda prevailed over his brothers, and from him came a ruler, although the birthright was Joseph's. The sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Yisrael, Chanok, and Palu, Chetzron, and Carmi. The sons of Yoel, Shemaiah his son, Gog his son, Shimei his son, Micah his son, Reiah his son, Baal his son, Beara his son, whom Tiglath-Pileser, sovereign of Asher, took into exile. He was leader of the Reubenites. And his brothers by their clans, when the genealogy of their generations was registered, the chief, Yael, and Zechariah, and Bela, son of Azaz, son of Shema, son of Yoel, who dwelt in Aror, as far as Nebo, and Baal-Meon. And he dwelt eastward as far as the entrance of the wilderness, from the river Euphrates, because their livestock had increased in the land of Gilead. In the days of Shaul they fought against the Hagrites, who fell by their hand, and they dwelt in their tents over all the eastern part of Gilead. And the children of Gad dwelt next to them in the land of Bashan, as far as Salcah. Yoel was the chief, Shopham the next, then Yaani, and Shaphat in Bashan, and their brothers of their father's house, Mikael, and Meshulam, and Sheba, and Yorai, and Yakan, and Zayah, and Eber, 7. These were the children of Abihail, son of Huri, son of Yaorwa, son of Gilad, son of Mikael, son of Yeshishai, son of Yachdo, son of Buz. Ahi, son of Abdiel, son of Guni, was chief of their father's house. And they dwelt in Gilad, in Bashan and its villages, and in all the open lands of Sharon within their borders. All these were registered by genealogies in the days of Jotham, sovereign of Yehuda, and in the days of Jeroboam, sovereign of Israel. The sons of Reuben, and the Gadites, and the half the tribe of Manasseh had 44,760 brave men, men able to bear shield and sword, to shoot with the bow, and skilled in battle, going out to the army. And they fought against the Hagrites, and Yatur, and Naphish, and Nodab. And they were helped against them. And the Hagrites were given into their hand, and all who were with them. For they cried out to Elohim in the battle, and he answered their prayer because they put their trust in him. And they took away their livestock, 50,000 of their camels, and 250,000 of their sheep, and 2,000 of their donkeys, also 100,000 of their men. For many fell dead, because the battle was of Elohim. And they dwelt in their place until the exile. And the children of the half-tribe of Manasseh dwelt in the land. They increased from Bashan to Baal Hermon, that is, to Senir, or Mount Hermon. And these were the heads of their fathers' houses, Epher, and Yishai, and Eliel, and Azrael, and Jeremiah, Hodawaiah, Yachdiel, mighty brave men, men of name, and heads of their fathers' houses. But they trespassed against the Elohim of their fathers, and whored after the mighty ones of the peoples of the land, whom Elohim had destroyed before them. So the Elohim of Israel stirred up the spirit of Pul, sovereign of Asher, even the spirit of Tiglath-Pileser, sovereign of Asher. And he took the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh into exile, and brought them to Halachach, and Habor, and Hara, and the river of Gozan. Unto this day,